breaking down my multi-six-figure coaching business for you, so you can have a little peep inside, a little look behind the door, a little look behind the curtain. Let's dive in. When I first started out in my coaching business, what I found is I was always on this kind of hamster wheel of business. I was always kind of chasing the next thing, the next sales, the next offer, the next. And to be honest, it got kind of exhausting. And I found this was happening for clients too. So I started to shift the perspective of how I looked at the foundations of business and also applied the same rinse and repeatable strategies that I have used for years. But I've updated them to the current climate of social media and the current climate of the world and business, because let's be honest, business has changed. It's probably gotten fractionally harder. People are more savvy. Marketing has shifted. Things have changed. And I don't say that to be like all doom and gloom. I say that to just share it how it is. So let's dive in a little more. So when I started, I found that I was running really big programs and then needing to keep up with a lot of smaller programs to supplement my income. It did work really well, and I've had a successful business for many years now, so I'm super duper grateful for that. But what we've shifted to recently that's helped me make and stick to this is that bulk of our income comes from a group program, which is 12 weeks long. Then we always have one-on-ones running. And then we also have some smaller things here and there, but they're not the main income earner, because I really believe that we can make really good money from high ticket, and then we don't need lots of this like quote unquote passive income. That might be a video for another day. So when we look at those things and we look at how do we always have a group program running, or not always, but a group program and income coming from that? How do we have one-on-ones? How do we have workshops that are full of people? How do we actually have all of this? Because that's all really nice, but where do these people come from? So I want to take you through exactly what I'm doing on a day-to-day or kind of weekly basis that's allowing this to happen. Now, of course, the foundations of my business are built. They are strong. I have messaging. I have core messaging that I resonate with, that I love. I have offers that I love, that I've worked on for 12 months or more now. I have a business that's been operating for years. I have a brand, but a brand didn't just happen. A brand was built through regular actions. And I believe that's a really big missing piece for a lot of people. So what does that actually look like for me week to week that makes up all of this that is the current business? Let's talk about it. So one component of all of this is definitely the content piece of Instagram and social media. So any social media platform that you're on. So if you want to move over to Instagram, this will be helpful there. If you want to stick to YouTube, this will be really, really helpful in getting you to make sure you're posting enough content. So you want to really think about what's your version of consistency. So I'll share a little bit about mine. In some seasons, I can be posting twice a day. In other seasons, it's once. On YouTube, we're committed to two per week. And in some seasons, that shifts and changes, and that's okay. But knowing that number week to week and having it be as consistent as possible definitely was helpful. I also learned how to sell on stories every day, so especially on Instagram, so you're weaving in your selling and it's feeling like, you're storytelling and selling, you're sharing and selling, and that's really what we want it to feel like. And there's a beautiful art to that. So learning that definitely helps bridge the income gap from where you are now to where you desire to be. The next thing I love to focus on is good quality DM conversations, what I like to call DM conversations without the ick. So what do I mean by this? Here, I mean that every single week I focus on connection in the DMs over, do you want to buy this? Hi, why are you here? Hi. And really focus on building rapport and deep connection with my audience on how I can serve them best. DMs have got a bit of an average rap over the last few years, and there's merit as to why. But this method that I'm working with to bridge this income gap is warm DM conversations and asking people things like, do you want to be on a wait list? Do you want to be VIP? Instead of jumping straight into assumption or sales. And last, but definitely not least, is something that is really easily missed. A real easy oversight, a real easy that can't be that important, Adriana. But it's this. I track my numbers every single week. I know my numbers and I'm always tracking. So for me, that looks like a tracker that literally says how many times I want to post, how many stories I want to do. If you need to track how often you forward face and sell, you could track that. Going live, creating videos. And then if you're not getting the desired result, you can look back week after week after week and actually ask myself, what got done? What actually happened here? Or what didn't happen at all? And then your numbers don't lie, right? Numbers don't lie. So then you can know exactly what to implement, up, take away, do differently after you've been doing it maybe for at least 90 days. But at least this helps me know what I'm doing, right? And it keeps me really, really accountable. And like anyone, I need that too. Along with this, I always keep a flow list. What does this mean? It's a to-do list, but I like to call it a flow list. You can literally see in this book here, each day I have like a list of everything that needs to happen. I tick it off, I mark it off, and I call it a flow list. So it's something I get to flow through. I keep it fairly realistic so I can get it all done and know what's happening. But the beauty of this is that you should have mapped out day after day what it is that you want to achieve. Now, without foundations, without good messaging, without good offers, without the care to build a really good brand, a really good mission, none of these little things matter. They did make a difference. I know they are what got me from the smaller months to the bigger months, but more than that, it was the fact that I cared to build a solid foundation and I took the time to do it. So I looked at things like, what is my messaging? What type of marketing am I doing? Is it working? Is it still working? I looked at things like, what type of support do I need? What type of questions do I need to ask? So don't forget this foundational step in really moving into those consistent, 10, 15, 20K months. If you, my love, want to keep learning beautiful, epic, important things just like in this video, you can join our mailing list and I'll be in there sharing prompts, pieces of information, energetic and practical strategic insight week after week. I'll see you in the next video.